All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have a very special guest today who we're going to be interviewing, and I'm excited each and every one of you are here. And I would like to introduce one of our platinum executives, a young lady who I've had the honor of traveling the country with to do presentations, not only here in Arizona, but on the West Coast as well. She's a superstar, super kind, always marketing her business. And another attribute that I really respect about her is she's not a jumper. She found her home here at Essante a while ago, and she stuck with it. So with that, I'd like to introduce our platinum executive, Jane Orlov. Welcome aboard, Jane.
Thank you, Dr. JJ. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, thank you. I love your background there. It looks real tranquil and beautiful. So welcome. So let's get right into it, Jane. I know that you've had years of education. I know that you've taken so many wonderful courses and read so many wonderful books. And of course, I know that you speak a couple of languages, which is also very impressive to me. But let's get right down to it. What attracted you to the industry of network marketing?
Yes, and thank you for saying that I've done a lot of education. And actually, my education is all self-taught. I did take a lot of courses. Traditional education, not so much. I finished high school in Russia. I immigrated here to the United States 25 years ago and started college and dropped out because it was very expensive. And at that time, I met my ex-husband, and I basically had kids and was a stay-at-home mom. And at that time, I was really kind of like very pessimistic in my mindset. And I stayed at home, was a stay-at-home mom. And my mom's friend introduced me to, invited me to a network marketing meeting. And I just saw how positive everybody was there, and people were like so excited for their future, for the potential. I just saw their eyes just light up compared to, I was just like in a doom and gloom kind of mindset. And what attracted me was that people were all positive and excited and supportive. Like everybody was just like supporting each other. And it was in another company, but I liked their attitude, and I wanted the opportunity because the potential of making money from home was very exciting to me. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I did want to do something on the side. And because I didn't have really traditional education, I didn't feel that I was qualified to go get a job at the time. And so that was attracted to me, that everybody was positive and supportive and potential of making money from home.
That's wonderful. So not only people's attitude, because we're the sum parts of the people we hang out with, and you wanted to hang out with positive people, but also I love what you said, that the industry of network marketing levels the playing field, where you're going to attract people that have upper educations, that have finished college and beyond, but people that didn't go to college, or even that have gone to high school or finished high school. They have an opportunity just as much as somebody who's got this higher education to be successful. And I mean, you're proof positive of that. That's awesome. So,
and I wanted to add on to that. The lady that was on stage speaking, she was a high position in a banking, like a vice president of a bank. And I thought, oh my gosh, if she does it, it's probably legitimate. It's not just like mom and pop kind of industry. Yeah.
So that was important to you, obviously, as well. The network marketing was a legitimate industry, and you seeing people that didn't need to be in network marketing, so to speak, high in the financial world or the banking world, and obviously with their licenses and whatnot, that it has to be, a straight-laced business, or they wouldn't be allowed to do it.
And what I think started is why I kind of succeeded in this, I think, was because I was mentored by people with those high educations, and I believed, I listened to their mentorship, and I did not listen to any of my friends that were negative about it. They were saying, oh yeah, it's one of those things. And I decided to listen to the people who've done it and succeeded, versus to some naysayers that, just was just saying negative things about it.
That's such a great point, because I think that we could look at any industry, even banking, like you mentioned, and you can talk the medical field with doctors and attorneys, and even athletes. You can think about basketball or baseball, whatever industry it is. And the fact of the matter is there's going to be some people who go to the top of those industries or sports and some people who don't. And really, we should be focused on the people who succeeded. If that's the arena we want to go into, we should focus on what did those successful people do to become successful versus the naysayers and say, oh, I failed, so this must be a scam. So that's a really good point. Focus on people who've achieved what you want and pick their brains. Utilize them as mentors if they're available. That's excellent.
Absolutely.
So now you've discovered network marketing, you've studied the credibility of it, and you're blown away by the caliber of people that it's attracting. So now, why Essante Organics specifically? You said you were in another company, and I know you not to be a jumper. I mean, you've only been in a couple of companies. So now you're here, and you've been here for a while, and I really respect your stick-to-itiveness. So why Essante Organics?
Yeah, so my first company I was with about for a year, and I consider that to be my education. Like I said, I never actually had a traditional education. So that's one of the points that I love about network marketing is that they provide free education for you to study marketing, for you to study social media, for you to study mindset, for you to study personal development. And I never got any student loans, and I consider my first year to be my learning curve and educate, like where I was learning the ropes. When I started, I was so negative, like I mentioned. It took me a while just to get my mindset straight and to see the potential of it and be able to change my attitude about sharing with people. I was really shy. I didn't even actually know how to talk to people. I started doing video marketing. I had to overcome my fear of being on camera, of talking to people. I hated my voice. I hated my accent. So for me to overcome all of those things took a little bit of a time, and I couldn't even pronounce the word entrepreneur when I started. I was just like, but about a year after I started network marketing, I was doing social media. I was doing videos. I was promoting my, back then business everywhere. And I got to achieve like the top female blogger at that time. And I got reached out and I was invited to a Essante Organics convention to promote social media training, how to teach people how to market it on social media at that time. And that was like 10 years ago. I've been with Essante for over 10 years. And when I was just doing the training there, I saw the product quality, I saw the ingredient, I listened to everybody talking about how to read the labels and look for the toxins on the back of the label, and about the compensation plan, and about I was just blown away by everything, even though it was a smaller convention to the convention I'd been to with my previous company where there was like a stadium of people. I was excited for the potential and for the core values of Essante. So when I went back home, I looked at all the products I was promoting and I saw all the toxins, and consciously I could not even market it anymore to people because I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want people to get long-term side effects from the products that they're going to be using. And I saw the comparison of the compensation plan, how much more profitable it would be with the same amount of team members you have on your team. And I saw that there were no flushing of volume. And I compared it to my previous company where they were charging me for, for the administration fees. Every time I would buy products, there were some additional fees that they added on, and the volume dropped. And if I didn't renew, and I had to pay a monthly fee and a yearly fee. And so there were so many extra things that Essante had extras and more beneficial. And I thought, well, if that convention was so huge, Essante has so much more potential with better products, with better compensation plan. And I made a switch 10 years ago, and I've been with Essante ever since.
Brilliant choice. You brought up so many good points there. One of the points being, and I've been to those too, because here I am on the corporate side of things with Essante, but before that, I was a distributor for many years, and I've been to those conventions like you that were in the, basketball arenas and whatnot, these huge things. But you know, what I've learned over all these years that I would much rather be a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a huge pond. And you're right, the opportunity at Essante, even to this day, is still enormous. And then you couple that with our unmatched, you know, not even close compensation plan, and of course, the product integrity as well. So
I wanted JJ for you to share the story about flushing, how one time, what happened to you in another
yes,
company.
I mean, thank you. My wife and I were distributors in another company, and yeah, we would have these big conventions and all of that, but it was in Arizona. And one of the things that we were doing to build the business, and our philosophy is build your business always and in all ways. But one of the things we were doing was if we could rent a booth or set up a table and talk about the product that we had and or the business opportunity, we would. And there was one of those circumstances, and we were doing it part-time. I was still running a real busy, successful chiropractic office. So there was a time that Angie, my wife, she had a table set up where she was talking about that product. And guess who walks in but our CEO, our owner, Michael Weniger. And he starts talking to her. And obviously she's busy doing her thing. But then she came back that night and said, you know, she had met this CEO, this owner of a local company that, you know, wanted to meet with me as well as her, you know, for more time. And we had been through that before. We had had other local and not local companies approach us to join their company. We always said, no, no, no. And when I met Michael Weniger for the first time at Essante, I pulled up, I'm willing to admit it, with my big head. I was driving the free car. You know, it was like an $80,000 BMW, which wasn't free. All these network marketing companies that say, oh, you've won a free car. Well, in all that I've ever seen, and in the case of Angie and I, guess whose name was on the lease? Guess who had to make the monthly payments? It was us. And it was a big payment. You know, it was like $1,800 a month payment. And if something ever happened, guess who would get stuck paying the bills? It was us. So we had reached a level that we were getting reimbursed $1,800 a month to pay for it. I think it was $1,860 a month, and we were getting $1,800 a month reimbursed. Now, I think most people know who I am. I'm ecologically conscious. I mean, I've got solar panels on our roof, and we drive an electric car. And this BMW, we would have never got. It was a cool car, but even if you drove slowly, you could see the gas gauge moving just on like a 15-mile trip. You would see the gas. It was terrible, terrible footprint, you know. Make a long story short, I pull up in this car. The license plate says Z343. I'm in with my big head. And Mr. Weniger prophesized, I think, like 5 things that would happen to us in that company. And the whole time, I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. Like, I'm telling this owner and this guy, this man who's been in the industry a decade longer than me, you don't understand, because we're top dogs in the company. The CEO at that company loves us. He's flown us out to his penthouse in Chicago, blah, 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 blah. But one of the things he did say was about bank volume. He also talked about that free car that wouldn't be free someday. And he was right about that. We did get stuck paying the $1,800 a month, so we didn't run our credit. But the question you asked me was about bank volume. And I was saying, oh, you don't understand. Our company, not Essante, the company Angie and I are with, doesn't flush volume on the power leg until the 13th month. All of the other companies that I've ever heard of in the industry, I mean, you've got a week, maybe 30, 60, 90 days to patch up your weak leg to your strong leg. Well, we had 13 months, and that was the biggest I had heard of in the industry, because I didn't know the Essante compensation plan at that time, that they never, forget the 13th month, they never flush power leg volume until you're paid on it. So he was trying to explain that to me, flushing volume, and I kept on saying, well, you don't understand. Angie and I are top enrollers in the company, so we're going to catch our weak leg up to our strong leg, and we were adamant about that. And one of the things that I respect about Mr. Weniger, he would call us, you know, every few weeks to check on us and to see if we had enough pain yet. Well, to make a long story short, and sorry I'm going on a little bit, but to make a long story short, when that 13th month came, and when we woke up that morning and looked at our back office, because Angie and I are those people that we were always keeping an eye on our back office. Well, we woke up one morning and $1 million of bank volume was gone. We went to sleep with $1.3 million in the power leg bank volume. When that 13th month hit and that $1 million was gone, then we got it. And then you have to remember, after that 13th month, after that week, every week after that is a 13th month. So now volume was getting flushed every single week that we weren't getting paid on. The point of the story was, if Angie and I had lost $100, even if we'd lost $1,000 in commission, we're like, okay, no big deal, lesson learned. But when you lose $1 million flush volume, and the company didn't do anything wrong, it was the 13th month, right? And remember, it's not just flush from us, it's flush from everybody above us too. The company wins, because if you're taking 10% of $1 million, that's $100,000. That hurts. That pays off a mortgage. So then we finally got flushing of volume. So what we have here, and one of the reasons why you're so excited, besides the product integrity, besides the organic, which is amazing, which also is pretty much unheard of in the industry, is that we never flush power leg volume. So you can have $100 extra volume on your power leg, 1,000, 1 million, 1 billion, it doesn't matter. You can take as long as you need to catch your lesser volume leg up to your strong leg, your power leg. So thanks for asking me that question and letting me take over the interview there.
I wanted to just add on that since I've been with Essante for over 10 years, I see people, that got distracted or life got in the way, and I'm following up with them and I say, hey, you have a lifetime membership here. You only pay $130 fee and you have a lifetime membership, and you have banked volume on one side. So if anything changes in your life, if you just start building the other side, you're gonna get paid right away, and nothing ever got taken away from you. So we have a lot of people coming in after they haven't actually understood what it was that they had.
And that's brilliant. And we tell people, we recommend that to follow up with your downline on the regular. And like you said, life's going to get in the way. Unfortunately, people are going to have changes in occupation, changes in marital status. People are going to pass away. But it's the human condition. We're all going to have situations that go on. But it's great to follow up with your people, to check on how they're doing, but also to remind them what's going on beneath them. Because I know in your case, you're a big builder. So, you've created a lot of bank volume for a lot of people. So it's definitely an incentive for them to get back in. Even if they've been inactive, they might not even have ordered for a few months, but that volume is still there. And in a case like yours, the people below you, in many cases, it's still growing. I saw on social media in the past 30 days, and it was less than 30 days, someone who's in our industry, not as a distributor, but it is a big, a person who promotes the industry and reports on the industry. And I'm not going to say any names, but that narrows it down by 50%, right? But he was talking about, kind of making fun of, in a way, somebody having this huge power leg and they're not earning money and this and that, making it seem like it's such a bad thing, where I think that psychological re-education that he should have used in a case like that. No, that's a great thing. If you love the company, if you love the products, if you love the management, and you're blessed to be in a situation that you've got all this volume, potential people underneath you, that's great. Now you can focus, in the case of somebody that's a company that's only building 2 legs, a binary, which is a blessing, you can focus 99.9% of your effort on that pay leg, that weaker volume leg. Notice I said 99.9, because sometimes people say, oh, I've got this huge power leg with, whatever, $100,000 of volume. I never have to do anything over there. Well, that's not really healthy, obviously. It depends on the compensation plan, but you should focus still there, put some attention there, just 99% of your effort perhaps on that pay leg, that lesser volume leg.
Yes. So
one of the things you said that I love, that's important to you, and it's very important to me, is that we have organic and toxic-free products. And well, I'm going to ask you this. And this is a difficult question, because I've seen a lot of your social media posts. I've seen your videos. I subscribe to all your stuff. But if you were to narrow it down, let's say, to just a few products, what are your favorite products? I know what one of them is, but I'm not going to answer for you. What are some of your favorite products and why?
So the product that I usually always have with me and always start the conversation with people is our sanitizer.
I knew it. That's wonderful.
I I have it everywhere. It comes with two sizes. I have this size in every bathroom, like in the kitchen, everywhere. And this one is always with me in the car and in my purse. And basically it's a stabilized oxygen. And it's very, very unique product. The reason that I always start a conversation is like, what other sanitizer can you spray in your mouth? You don't, there's no other product everywhere that does it. But not only does it kill the bacteria, and especially with the few couple of years with the pandemic, you want to sanitize, everybody's like sanitizing everything everywhere, but it also actually, like, I spray it in my mouth all the time. I want to, like, anytime I start to feel a little bit of scratchy throat, I spray it in my throat right away. It doesn't develop further, doesn't go anymore. And I sprayed it in my son's, he had a pink eye, he had a sunburn. It like helps to heal all the scarring or cuts, any type of infection or skin condition you have it. We have so many testimonials that we even made a website called miraclesanitizer.com if you want to go check out all the other videos and so many different pictures. But this is absolutely the best thing ever. It's truly a miracle. And the reason I like start a conversation with that, because it's really, really unique and it's very, very inexpensive. And people see me spray it as like, what is that? And I'm like, have you heard of this? Oh my gosh, it's a miracle sanitizer. And I just like start sharing. I always start sharing with the product. I don't really usually start sharing the business opportunity unless people ask me like how you make your money and things like that. So I usually start with product sharing. And anywhere I go, I always like, can we exchange social media? Let me get you on my face, like let's exchange Facebook, let's connect on Facebook. I don't usually ask for their phone number, but I tell people, let's connect on Facebook. And anywhere I go, I have my sanitizer with me. The other one would be the B tabs, and I know Maya shared in her interview with the allergies that it helped her all my life. I had allergies for pets and dust and anything pollen. I would sneeze like crazy. So B tabs do help a lot with your histamine receptor, like changing the histamine activation in your body. And also, not only does it help with that, but it also helps with libido. And it has like 22 minerals and 27 minerals and 22 amino acids in just 4 ingredients, like bee pollen, honey, what does it have? Bee pollen, royal jelly, and what was the fourth?
Propolis.
Propolis. So only, and it tastes like candy. It's like you chewable. And we've had so many benefits with people sharing when they go through menopause, for hot flashes. Yes. They regulate the hormones. Even really, really good for pets. If you have pets, I know many people give it to their pets. And I know Michael Winiger, the owner of Essante Organics, shared that he always had really the dogs that lived a long time because he was just like feeding them constantly, the B tabs. So that would be my, and B tabs also I share because it's so unique and also very inexpensive. But then if people want to know more, I always share about our greens and reds, how we use products that are dehydrated with no heat, that retain all the nutrients, that have 5.5 pounds of the 5.5 pounds of nutritional value without the, when you dehydrate, a strawberry, it becomes really, really tiny when you remove all the water. So in a little scoop, it's 5.5 pounds of nutritional value of organic veggies or organic superfruit berries. And I love the reds because they taste like dessert. It feels like you're cheating. So those would be the main products that I start with and share. And then as people want to know more, I expand because we have such a large catalog of products. I also have a few properties that I rent out furnished, and I always stock them with Essante products, like in the shower, so that they have an opportunity to try the products for themselves.
That's brilliant. So you're taking the income that you earn from Essante and having that income, which is passive, work even further passive income for you with your real estate investments. And brilliantly, you've stocked the house with Essante products, so people are going to fall in love with it. I have a very similar story to you. Here in Arizona, we got a lot of rain over the past few months, which is great. We needed it. Lake Mead was really low and the reservoirs were low. But because of all that rain, now we've got those big, bright, beautiful yellow flowers and purple flowers. And I mean, I never really noticed allergies too much. I mean, I've had a little sniffle here and there a couple of years, but most of the years never a problem. But this year, Angie and I were out at a restaurant at Cave Creek on the patio, eating al fresco, and it was beautiful. But all those wildflowers in the desert in Cave Creek, and yeah, I started feeling it. And what's interesting, it kind of got me researching it because unfortunately, my parents didn't know then, when I was a little kid, what they knew in later years. I had my tonsils removed. And I wish I hadn't, because it's one of the primary defenses against cancer. It's a big, very important for your immune system. But anyway, I don't have my tonsils anymore. I had a tonsillectomy. And my throat from the allergy, just being outside for a couple of hours, was definitely raw. And it almost felt like my tonsils were growing back.
Oh, wow.
And if you research it, when an ENT or when your surgeon, if they remove, you're unlucky enough like me to have your tonsils removed, oftentimes there's going to be a little bit of that tonsilloid tissue still left in there. And it can slightly grow back. It's not like you're going to have full tonsils or whatever. But like you, definitely sprayed the sanitizer right in my mouth, started upping my intake of the Be Natural. And I mean, that was just this past weekend. This is just Saturday, Sunday evening, and I feel great. My throat feels perfect again. So very, very powerful product. Something you said to an earlier point that I really love, and I didn't comment on it, but while you were talking, it reminded me, I wanted to bring it back, that I don't care who you are. If you're watching this live, if you're watching this on a recording, we all have fears, all of us. You think you're Superman or Wonder Woman. We all have fears. And if you interview people like you, successful people, we've heard that success leaves clues. And I would say that every successful person who I've ever spoken to, including you, just like us, all of us have fears, but you face your fears anyway. So if you're scared of the dark, spend more time in the dark. If you're scared of what people might perceive as your command of the English language or your accent or this or that or being on camera, do those things. And you did those things. And I think that's been a big part of your success. And what's funny is the things that we're fearful of when it is people judging us, they're really not judging us. Like, I guarantee I could find most anybody that's ever followed your journey that they love the way you sound. They love the way you present. Well, we have these internal voices sometimes, unfortunately, that stop us from moving forward, from facing those fears, from doing those things anyway. And thank God that voice didn't stop you. You forged ahead anyway, and you're the great person that you are.
Thank you. Yes, and I wanted to mention a few things while you were saying those things. I had to reframe not the event, but the way that I thought about it. Before, when I didn't finish college, I dropped out of college, I would always think, oh, I'm dumb, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm this, then that English is my second language, or the voice that, oh my gosh, it sounds so nasal, or I would look in the mirror and find all the flaws that I could, so my outcome didn't change, but the way that I thought, okay, well, I started listening to a lot of personal development material, and I thought, oh my gosh, there are so many successful people that didn't fit in school. They were either had dyslexic and couldn't read, or there are so many people that are successful that didn't like, how the school were teaching them. So they are now own their huge successful companies and now have the A students employees in their companies. So I thought, oh, maybe it was a great thing that I didn't finish traditional education. Maybe I am entrepreneurial, so I had to reframe. I didn't change the outcome of the situation, but the way that I looked at it changed. So I started looking in the mirror, find things that I like about it. Or somebody once mentioned on one of my videos, like, oh, you have such a cute accent. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that person is crazy. But then I thought, well, if one person found that that it's so cute, then let me like look at it that way, you know, that it's unique and things. So you always want to find something that you enjoy about yourself and focusing on that, and focus on making it, develop it as your strength, or just like reframe the situation that you thought was bad. Just find some you know, material supporting that, you know, it's probably just a good thing. And the other thing is I wanted to say is that not only did my allergy improved, I also had severe headaches. I had pimples on my upper arms that I couldn't get rid of. I had severe cramping every time I had my period. So all of the things, when I started alkalizing and when I cleaned up my external cleaned up as well. So we forget, like it happened so long ago that I don't even remember to mention it up front, because I've been free of those, you know, things for such a long time. So I just remembered that I had all these other issues that went away.
That's phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. And really what you're saying at the end of the day, that here at Essante, we help people remove those toxic things from their life, those toxic ingredients, those toxic products. And then they see that physical change. But also something that people really need to realize is our thoughts. Words have power, thoughts have power. People can have toxic thoughts. And we all have that soundtrack that plays in our head, that we don't sound good enough, we don't look good enough, we're not smart enough. And that's baloney. And I don't even like to say that as examples. And that's why I'm a big believer in saying positive affirmations every single day, because as you reprogram your subconscious by what you see, what you hear, and what you say, then your subconscious will feed into your conscious, and you will be that person that you're supposed to be, that great person that you've become. So that's wonderful.
Yes, and I wanted to say, you know, I love how you always say, please forgive me instead of sorry, because when you say sorry, you accept your fault. When you say, please forgive me, you accept the other person to forgive you for if you did something wrong. So all of those things, and I don't say, I excluded many things from my vocabulary. And when I notice people say that, it actually like catches on your ear, you know, but a lot of people just say things automatically, like I'm sick and tired of this, or, you know, like things like, oh, I'm always broke, or like, oh, I'm like, don't say those, you know, there's things you never want to say, but in society, you know, it's like, you know, they catch those things, and it's like, why would you say those things and prophesy it in your life?
Absolutely. We can always change a negative word into a positive, or a negative phrase into a positive phrase, or a negative thought into a positive thought. So my next question for you, really the final thing I want to ask of you, and I already know, again, a lot of examples because I've been so impressed by you on and off of social media, with your vehicle that you drive and everything. But how are you marketing your Essante Organics business?
Yes, so I market it, like you said, always and in all ways. So that's the best way. I used to think that you have to prepare and do, you know, I remember when I met Angie at the airport when I first started, we were driving and we were like, you know, we were driving somewhere and then went to the store, and she was just like on the phone doing three-way calls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, in order for me to do a three-way call, I have to like block out half of the day, sit in a quiet room, you know, like be prepared. But here's like, you're just doing your own thing, you're like shopping there, you're running your errands there. And she's just like, yeah, let me. And that was so inspiring to me, that like you didn't have to block your schedule around, you actually fit your business around your schedule, what you're already doing. So I'm always like, you know, constantly on the phone supporting people. I have advertising, like you mentioned, on my car, on my phone. I have like a Sante, like a sun hat. I have like a lip balm, you know, like sanitizer, things that you carry around with you. But majority of it is that you promote your lifestyle on social media. And when you are out and about and you're connecting with people. Like I mentioned, I always ask for their Facebook. Let's connect on Facebook. Now I know Instagram is popular and TikTok, but as long as you connect with people somehow, you can, they will notice what you're doing. And like I said, I also with my tenants, I provide the products when they move in, like in the shower and things like that. I leave them a catalog. I have a digital version of the catalog that I constantly message people about. And it's just fits in the life. You need to fit it in the lifestyle instead of like trying to block and separate it as a work. Like, from 9 to 5 you're at work, from here you're doing it's like constant, it feels like you're working, but you're not working because you're just sharing what you love.
Wonderful. Can I I want to ask you one more question that actually came in on the chat that I noticed, and I just want to see, spitball kind of with you and kind of work it through what you would say and what I'd say and whatnot. What would you say? We had this question. What would you say if somebody got really excited about Essante Organics, about the products, the compensation, just the opportunity overall, but they had a family member that was constantly hounding them? Why don't you go get a real job, right? What would you say what advice would you give to a person like that?
So I would say it depends on if you need income right away and you're struggling, or if you're thinking long term, because this is a business and it takes a while to build up to like income that you would be able to live off of. So the benefits of a network marketing, especially Essante Organics, is that it's the longer you are in it and the bigger team you get, the more you make. But at the beginning, when you're starting off and it's just you, it took me a while where I was only making a few $100s and then a few $1,000s and then tens of thousands of dollars. So if you are struggling and you need money right away, I would recommend go get an income and work Essante as a side project at first. And to family members that are not supportive, I would say that when I was starting out, only my mother was supportive. All my friends were not supportive at all, and they were laughing at me and joking at me, and they were like, oh yeah, when you make that money I will be your chef, or when you like, they were making all these jokes were like really, really hurting. But like I said, I decided to listen to people who've done it, and they were warning me about all of these different attacks where people who, if your family member is not a successful entrepreneur you are trying to be, don't listen to that family member, because if you only listen to the people that are already there, like you mentioned at the beginning, and it almost asks you, even my ex-husband, when I started doing videos, he was like, oh my gosh, you're doing videos, nobody's gonna watch your videos, why are you even wasting your time, and now I've had so many people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, we watched your video, it changed our life, it inspired us to become better. You imagine what you would have people like in my situation. Even when I was starting out, I had nobody on my team, I had no people, and then now I have people I don't even know come up to me and say, oh my gosh, we watch your videos, you're so excited. It changed the way that we thought, the way that we ate, the way that something changed in their life with the positive effect. And if I listened to the person that was like bashing me and saying, nobody's going to watch your videos, nobody's going to do that, just give up, and none of that would have happened. And and if I so imagine in the future the result you want, like the outcome you want, and imagine that people are all these people that you're going to change positively, and you're going to share the product and it will change their life and they will get rid of their diabetes or whatever. Like, we don't claim those things, but like their life changes, their health changes, and imagine they come to you gratefully that it helped them. You want to visualize that and focus on that. When I had 2 people on my team, I visualized hundreds of people on my team, and I would just imagine all these great things when nothing was happening. So just seeing it, believing it will happen, it will happen if you put in the effort and you don't deviate and you don't like spread your energy and your effort, like, oh, let me do this one day, this one, and next day this one, because then you'll be just distracted and never achieve it.
Wonderful. That's such great advice. Thank you. Yeah, and my wife would always say to that, don't let anybody put salt in your tea. When you drink tea, it has a flavor. Some people like it sweet, but you don't want people putting salt in your tea. And you just really need to stop hanging around with negative people. If it's your family member, obviously you're not gonna not spend time with your family, but try not to let.
You can tell your family, you know what, if you're not supporting of this dream, you might not understand the business model. What I wanted to mention also, what attracted me to network marketing, is that I forgot to mention at the beginning when you asked that question, is that not only is it a business model to be able to work from home, it's also a business model where you write off a lot of your expenses. You drive your car, you write off your miles. You talk on the phone, you write off your phone bill. You can part of your house as an office space, you can write that off. You write off your products that you're using for samples and everything. You write off so many things that if you have a W-2 job, you cannot write off at your taxes at the end of the year. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is that in network marketing, especially in Essante, you get better products than if you were to buy online, because there's no middleman, and because the companies pay the people to spread the word. They don't really have to staff the shelf in the store, or this is a completely different model. So when people are negative, they probably just don't understand how it works. And to your family member, you can say, you know what, I know a few people that did succeeded, and I'm gonna try it. And don't, at least if you don't support me, don't don't put extra negative comments towards me. Just kind of stay and watch, and then after a while, now I have those same people who were laughing at me coming up to me and say, hey, can you share what you're doing or how you did it, and things like that. I'm like, yeah, where were you 10 years ago when I was starting, and I really, really needed your support.
That's wonderful. And that's, I think, a truism that anybody who's watching this really needs to know as well, that when somebody says no and they're doing what you did, which is wonderful. They're out on all the social media thing. They're putting YouTube videos up. They're putting Instagram reels up, Facebook. They're doing all that stuff. The people that said no to you, and even the people that were negative to you, that aren't commenting, they're still seeing your stuff. And they're waiting for you to fail. That's what they're waiting for. They're hoping. It kind of sounds weird, because then they can prove in their head they're right. Don't worry about it. Whether they're commenting, even not giving you a like or anything, they're seeing your stuff. Keep going forward, be consistent, put out things daily, because eventually you're going to be in a situation like Jane was. It might be 5 years, it might be a decade later, and then they're ready to join you because they see that the success that you've had.
Yes, and the other thing is that you mentioned, in your mind, just imagine your mind as a sponge, and whatever you soak in will pour out of you. So I stopped watching TV. I stopped listening to any of the radio in the car. Anytime I'm driving, I'm listening to audiobooks, positive, different interviews, podcasts. So anything you put in your mind will spill out. And at the beginning, I couldn't even describe 2 words together. So I had to listen, and then I would sit there and write it all out on a piece of paper, and then I would memorize it as a poem, so that I could actually process how people that I like, how they're speaking so fluently, and how everything they're saying is just matches up and whatever. And I could open my mouth and say 2 sentences together that flowed together. It all takes practice. As long as you put the effort in and believe, and just put a tunnel vision in, it will work out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for this time that you've spent with us, Jane. And I know that you and I have spent a lot of time together, but for the people that are watching this live or watching it on the replay, they got to be flies on the wall and get to listen to our conversation. These are the type of conversations that we have all the time. And so appreciate you. Thanks for being a leader here. And thanks for allowing us to interview today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.